Hey guys, I have a little question for you. Have you ever wanted a Sonic game where you could take advantage of your OC character creation skills and you could share your really weird fetishes? Well, you can't do the second thing, so better wait for a fan game of that. Oh shit, I gave him like this! Welcome, my friends and my many fucking enemies, to Sonic Forces. So after the release of Sonic Lost World in 2013, for years Sonic the Hedgehog was pretty much in the desert. Well, okay, in 2014 we got Sonic Boom that everyone fucking complained about, to which, come on guys, it's a freaking spin-off game. However, July of 2016 was Sonic's 25th anniversary, to which Sega held a party/stream. We were treated to many things, like Crush 40 coming back, Sonic Boom Fire and Ice trailer, the seems horrible maintenance.
Yes, my name's Evo, but I don't think that's what my parents intended when they named me.
But the biggest showings there were trailers for the upcoming Sonic Mania and Forces, or as it was called at the time, Project Sonic 2017. Personally, I was more hyped for Forces than Mania, because before Mania, I've never played any of the classic games in my childhood. The Forces trailer showed Sonic's world pretty much fucked by Eggman and his giant robots. Sonic runs to save the day, and all of a sudden, classic Sonic appears. You know, from Generations. Anyway, as time went on, more trailers and news came, the biggest news being a new custom character gimmick, which is actually a good marketing strategy, and a new villain in the game, Infinite. However, my excitement grew to concern as more and more gameplay released, and the level design looked rather short and blech. But the game finally released on November 7, 2017, and I bet you're wondering, how did it turn out? Well, let's look at the story of the game. We see Eggman in his lab, almost done building his new creation powered by the Phantom Ruby, Infinite, the creation that shall help Eggman conquer the world. We'll get back to that later. We cut to Eggman attacking the townsfolk along with Tails, who should be able to defend these people!
What are you doing?
But no worries, cause Sonic comes to the rescue! Until Eggman summons Infinite and what looks to be Sonic's enemies from the past, but are actually clones made by the Phantom Ruby. Infinite and the rest pretty much kick Sonic's ass and capture him. Oh yeah, and Tails didn't do much to help. Sonic! With Sonic's defeat, Eggman has finally taken over the world. However, a resistance has been made to fight back against Eggman's army, with Knuckles being the commander of said resistance. A survivor from the city, however, has been sent to join the fight against Eggman's army, which is where your custom character comes in. Wait, a survivor? Does that mean lots of citizens have actually been killed? Oh shit, this got dark. Anyway, the resistance has gotten intel that Sonic is alive. It hasn't even been 5 minutes and we're already getting this confirmation. So much for tension. Apparently Sonic has been tortured by Eggman for months and the gang is sent to rescue him. Meanwhile, Tails is fixing up E123 Omega until Chaos Zero attacks.
Sonic, help me!
But then Classic Sonic arrives, thanks to the Phantom Ruby from Mania transporting him here, who is apparently from another dimension now. Okay then. Tails and Classic Sonic decide to team up to find out Eggman's plans. Elsewhere, Sonic escapes from his cell, defeats Savik, and custom character companies succeed in getting Sonic back to Earth. From there, Sonic makes himself known that he's back on Earth, the Resistance gather up more of their friends like Shadow and Tails, they pull off their plans with each making a difference, Eggman and the Resistance have one final battle, Infinite is taken down and our heroes foil Eggman's plans and save the world. From there, since the world is safe, Sonic's pals work together to rebuild what Eggman destroyed. Sonic and the custom hero say one final goodbye, with Sonic leaving, not bothering to help rebuild, and the custom character goes to drown himself, ending the story. It's not a bad story when you're just watching it casually. The characters are written better than in previous games. I like the idea of Eggman winning and the gang needing to fight back, and the cutscenes are animated well, but when you look deep in the details, it leaves you asking a decent amount of questions. For example, when Sonic is back on Earth and Infinite battles him, why does he leave him to suffer? You have him weakened. Shouldn't you just finish him off just to get him out of the way? And don't give me that he said Sonic isn't worth his time bullshit, because he pretty much spent his time fighting him, only to not destroy him. Other examples include, what is Silver doing here? Are the illusions made by the Phantom Ruby real or not? Since we're actually interacting with them, it can't be an illusion. If null space is an inescapable void, then tell me this. How the fuck did Sonic and the custom character break out of there in a matter of seconds just by doing a double boost? When the resistance stops the sun from falling, it just disappears, and as Knuckles puts it,
The sun, it's gone.
What does that mean? Did the sun move back from the Earth, or is it actually gone? Doesn't the Earth kinda, need the sun? And the biggest question of all that I've only seen one person ask, why isn't someone sent to collect the Chaos Emeralds? I know it's the end of the world and everything, but since the Chaos Emeralds have pretty much helped Sonic and his pals in the most desperate of situations, shouldn't that be priority number one? The story itself is pretty much more tell than show, like how it is said that Sonic is being tortured, but we don't see that, we're just supposed to care because potatoes. Stuff like that makes the story feel empty. And yes, I know, that was a line added in just to make the story more edgy, but even still, it adds an issue. Overall, the story is okay for what it is, but looking too deep into it will cause you to ask many questions. Plus, with it feeling like a rushed mess. Before we talk about the gameplay, I want to talk about Episode Shadow for a minute, basically a prologue of the story. It pretty much tells the story of Team Dark, Shadow, Rouge, and Omega, and also gives us more details about Infinite, who was apparently part of a mercenary team that Eggman hired. Even though in the beginning of the story, it seemed like Eggman created Infinite. But yeah, he encounters Shadow, gets his ass kicked, looks pathetic, and just makes us leave more questions. But I want to get into the gameplay, so here are the questions on the screen for you to pause and read.
I am not weak.
So Sonic Forces presents 3 gameplay styles: the returning boost formula established in Unleashed Colors and Generations, the classic Sonic gameplay making a return from Generations, and the new custom character gameplay featuring a more combat style while keeping the platforming and speed. Kinda. When it comes to modern Sonic, he has his usual moveset, including the boost, double jump from colors, homing attack, stomp, quick step, and dodge. I never used this. However, there are some moves that are missing, like the lightspeed dash, drift, etc. However, I get why this game didn't have the drift, considering the level design is more linear. We'll talk about that later. But it still would have been useful for some parts of levels. Sonic's moveset is fine, but the controls and physics feel a little off. To put what I'm saying in examples, when I start running as Sonic, it seems like he starts building up speed, but then in a split second he runs at full speed. But that's just nitpicking. A better example is his double jump. Now granted, it's nice to have a double jump, but it doesn't really function that well. First off, when it comes to 2D sections, it's hard to change your speed due to the wonky controls, and when you try to jump, it's hard to land them, again, due to the slippery controls. The second jump barely gets you any height too, which makes it harder to save yourself from potential death or keeping the speed going. It's hard to explain, to be honest, you'd have to play the game to know what I'm saying. But overall, I think Modern Sonic is still decent, as his moveset is mostly intact and satisfying as usual, but the controls could have been handled a little better. On to the custom character, I actually like his gameplay. The customization is actually quite fun. There are many ways you can make your OC your own, and hell, you can make dumb shit like this.
Silly rabbit, Twix are for kids.
You shall.
There's just a lot of options here, and I love it! But I bet you're asking, is the custom character actually fun when playing as him in the levels in terms of controls and mechanics? Kinda? I mean, when it comes to his moveset, he's pretty much Sonic without the boost, but still has the quick step, dodge, stomp, and slide. And instead of a homing attack, you use a grappling hook to attack enemies similar to a homing attack. It can also be used to grab these things that let you swing to a higher ledge or something. Personally, I think the grappling hook is okay for attacking enemies, though I feel like it's not as fast and simple as the homing attack. It's more slow and sluggish. Though it's satisfying like the homing attack because of one thing: the sound it makes. I'm sorry, am I the only one who thinks that sounds satisfying? However, I feel like the grappling hook was missed potential in terms of grabbing onto things. Like, there's this one thing where you grab onto the side of the stage and sort of drift, but it's activated automatically, and it's not up to the player to drift like that, which is a shame. I have an idea, however. Why not try to implement the grappling hook more into levels? Like, maybe you can grab onto a building and run on the side of it to get somewhere else, if you know what I mean. Or Spider-Man it up and have moments where you need to grab onto ledges and swing and use strategy to get to another platform. And don't mention those sections where you have to grab onto this thing, because it doesn't require strategy, and it's a thing that could have been expanded more. There is one more thing about the custom character I want to talk about, and that's the Wispins. These are weapons made for the custom character that are powered by aliens called Wisps. If you don't know what wisps are, they debuted in Sonic Colors. Go play that game to learn more. But anyway, you can use these to take out enemies and traverse through platforms and such. There are different types of Wispins that each have different abilities, and when you get the right Wisp capsule for each, you can perform your special. But I'm not going to go over all of them because that'd take too long, so I'll just mention some that I really like, or bloody hate. First, there's the Burst Wispin, basically a flamethrower. It takes out enemies pretty easily and requires little effort, but it keeps the speed going, which is nice. The special is pretty alright, I guess. You get a burst of flames which shoot you up into the air, and you keep pressing B to get higher. Then there's the Hover Wispin. It can blow enemies out of your path. Like the burst, it's pretty easy to use, but it's effective. The special is exactly like the burst, except you hover in the air. Cool, I guess? Two more I want to mention are the Lightning and Drill Wispin. Lightning has an attack where you use a whip to take out enemies, but to be honest, it's kind of a pace breaker. You just kind of stop and go when using it. I like the special though, it performs like a light speed dash, which is cool. Last one I want to mention is this fucking drill! Okay, so basically to use this, you need to mash the ZR button on the Switch multiple times to drill enemies. I'm sorry, but I am not a fan of the drill. It's kind of a pace breaker and it's not fun to use. Oh yeah, and the special is just a regular drill, except you just hold X to drill through enemies. Why couldn't that just be the regular control? Moving on. I like the custom character as a whole though. Sure, like Sonic, his controls are a bit wonky, but I like the use of the Wispins for the most part, and the grappling hook mechanic is something that could have been used more to its full potential. So up to this point, playable character-wise, everything is going fine. Until... Okay, first of all, what is the point of him even being here in the story? They try to do some bonding with him in Modern Tales, but it's forced, and it doesn't go anywhere, and it's just dumb. Plus, he really doesn't do anything noteworthy in the story either. But if they really had to have him in this game, is he fun to play as? Fuck no. Well, okay, let's go over the positives first. The Drop Dash from Mania is here, and that's cool. Honestly, that's it. In terms of his physics, man, does he suck. Whenever I try to jump and land my jumps, he feels like a fucking bowling ball. It's so hard to have fun with him when you just have no flow to his jumps. And what did they do to the momentum-based controls? I get this was sort of a problem in Generations as well, but I think Classic Sonic felt better to control there, even though I've only played the demo of Generations. But they somehow made it worse here. There's no momentum when rolling down hills and loops. It feels like the stop and go bullshit from Sonic 4. Therefore, taking away the reward of doing well in levels. Look, I get it. The physics engine probably couldn't replicate how Classic Sonic plays in the classic games. But if they can't get it at least kinda close to how it felt in those games, then don't do it at all. Like, what's the point of trying to replicate Classic Sonic's gameplay if you just can't do it? You get my point. In my opinion, Classic Sonic is the worst playable character out of all of them. I want to mention two things real quick. First, there are a few levels where you play as both Modern Sonic and custom character at the same time. How are they? Mechanically, they're fine. Switching to each character isn't a big hassle at all. Just make sure you boost as Sonic at the right time or else you'll fall off the stage or something. There's also the double boost. It requires little to no effort. So you basically mash the Y button on the Switch to activate your double boost. This will send you going super fast across some of the level. The thing is, however, you don't even have to mash the button. You could just not do anything and the characters will trip dance for a minute, then still do the double boost. Second thing I want to mention are the 2D sections for Modern Sonic and custom character. Like most people, I'm not a fan of these sections because they kind of feel unnecessary and tacked on. However, it creates another problem. So half of Modern Sonic's levels are 2D, half of custom characters' levels are 2D, and Classic Sonic is full 2D. That means 2/3 of this game is 2D. Huh. Again, I know this is something Generations did as well, but from what it looks like, the level design for that game was better. How's the level design in this game? Oh boy, I've been waiting for this. Where do I even start? So there are 3 level designers in this game. The lead level designer worked on Lost World. Not the best choice, but at least he has designed levels on a Sonic game, despite these two games having different gameplay styles. The other level designers have never designed a level for a Boost Sonic game until this one. What? Okay, maybe these guys can actually design some awesome levels. Or not. Look, I'm not gonna put all the blame on them, but these levels are not very good. It's not the fact that they're bullshit or tedious, but there's just no substance to these levels. Plus, I feel like the levels don't take advantage of the mechanics at hand, like the grappling hook or even the Wispins at times, even though I do like the Wispins as a mechanic. There's no real challenge either. Granted, I usually don't look for a lot of challenge in a video game, which is why I'll defend games like Odyssey. I'll talk about that game when I review it. But I can beat almost every level without breaking a sweat, and considering there's already nothing that interesting in most of the levels, it just hurts them a little more. Even when the game is hard, it's mostly because the levels don't work with the controls at hand, which results in someone having a hard time traversing through the level. Not to mention, there could be some unnecessary shit, like boosters where they don't need to be, and then there's this shit. Punishing the player for doing poorly? What's that? Speaking of beating the levels without breaking a sweat, the levels are very short. I know many people complain about this a lot, but it's a legitimate criticism. I think one reason the levels don't get to be fleshed out is because of their short length. You could beat each level in just about a minute. Granted, there are a few levels that you could beat in almost 2 minutes, but even then that's still a bit short. People say that when the levels start to get good, they end, to which I say, not really. I only remember seeing stuff like that in a few levels like Guardian Rock, Luminous Forest, and Eggate, so I can't really say much on that. What I can touch on though are the aesthetics environments in the levels. Now I'll give them this, they look nice, as does this whole game, we'll talk about that in a minute, but what I don't like is the originality in level environments. This might not be a big complaint to people, but I just wish we had more original level environments and not rehashed ones. Like, why do we have 5 Green Hill Zones in this game? It's not just Green Hill Zone though, we also have the Death Egg and Chemical Plant coming back, and the levels don't do much to switch things up whenever they're repeated. I know it makes sense story-wise, but I think there could have been a way to incorporate more new places into the story instead of repeating levels without doing much to make them stand out. Though my friend Luigi Magic NX made a good point that I'd like to bring up, so here, read it for yourself. I mean, there are a few new levels, but they don't really stand out that much. However, Metropolis does expand upon itself, as it has a new color palette and a more futuristic feel, which is pretty cool. Look, I know I'm probably talking about this way more than I should, as it's really not a huge issue. I just wish the environments and aesthetics were more interesting. It just feels lacking compared to Unleashed, where you could run through a savannah, an Arctic-like structure, a Japan-like structure, etc. There are a few levels I like though, like Mortar Canyon, seeming like the level where the designers finally got their shit together. Sunset Heights, I don't know why I like this one. No Space for its grinding on rails, and Eggate. But yeah, I feel like the levels could have been handled better in this game. There is some other stuff I want to touch on quickly before we wrap things up. First, the graphics. This game looks really nice. The lighting in this game is very well done, as are the details and shadowing thanks to the new Hedgehog Engine 2. Though I feel like Unleashed and Generations are better looking games despite being on lower gen consoles. I think it might be due to the art style Forces is going for. The colors are darker and less poppy, which I guess makes sense for the tone they're going for, but I don't know. Despite this on its own, it's still a very nice looking game. However, when it comes to the Switch version, which still looks really nice, the resolution is dropped to 720p and the frame rate is 30 frames per second. I don't get why this is the case. Forces is a game that I think could be brought up to at least 900p 60 frames per second. If someone knows why this is the case, please tell me in the comments below. Another thing I want to mention is free DLC. For DLC, you can get Super Sonic. It's a cool thing to have, I guess, though I don't think he's that much faster than regular Sonic. There are also Sonic t-shirts, kill me, and the biggest DLC being Episode Shadow. This is an extra adventure featuring Team Dark from Sonic Heroes doing their own thing, I guess? I don't know, I honestly didn't pay much attention to Team Dark's dialogue. There are only 3 levels, with the first one being Sunset Heights with some differences, like a kinda new 2D section. The second one being Eggman's Facility or Aqua Road, except a bit more challenging. And another Green Hill, feeling like the most automated level in the game. Like seriously, if you make one mistake in the level, you might have trouble trying to speedrun through those red cubes. Episode Shadow is okay, I guess. The levels kind of feel like some levels from the main game, but there's a bit of a twist to them, which is nice. Shadow is fun to play as, though I think it's because he's basically Sonic, but a little more slippery. Like I said before though, in terms of giving Infinite a backstory, it's very underwhelming. In terms of replayability, in the main game you could do these bonus and secret levels. They're nothing special, but it doesn't hurt to try them out. You can also complete objectives and crap to unlock more stuff for your custom character, so that's cool I guess. Lastly, there are the boss fights. They're very hit and miss. The Zavik boss fight is nothing special, honestly. You avoid his attacks while you wait for him to dive with his B thing, and then you home in on him and attack him. It's an easy boss all around. The boss with Infinite is pretty good. You run eventually to catch him and home attack on him. You also have to avoid his red cubes at times and defeat his groups of copies to defeat the real Infinite. The music is great too. Oh, and I forgot to mention this. The soundtrack is pretty alright. There are a few tracks I like Ghost Town, though I feel like most of the tracks sound the same in terms of instruments, with it sounding more techno if I'm not mistaken. Back to the bosses, there's one where you fight Eggman with Classic Sonic. You first fight him in the classic Eggmobile, then he'll bring his Egg Dragoon. He'll blast you with drills, then throw rocks that you need to spin dash into to throw them at him. This is an easy boss, but I like it. It's pretty satisfying to spin dash into every rock and have them all hit Eggman. Hilarious. There's another boss with Infinite in the custom character. He'll perform some attacks that you need to avoid so you don't get the illusion effect, and when he's open you can attack him. I don't care for this boss. I don't know why, honestly. Hell, you can grab the Lightning Wispin and spam it to attack him. Two other bosses include a fight with Metal Sonic, where your custom character and Sonic chase after him while avoiding obstacles, take out whatever these things are, then home attack him 3 times, and a fight with Infinite, which is basically the Metal Sonic fight in terms of structure, except he has his own obstacles you have to avoid. These bosses are decent. I like that they include using both of these characters at the same time, and that last hit with the double boost, satisfying. Lastly is the final boss with the Death Egg robot having 3 phases. The first phase is with Classic Sonic. The robot will throw rocks that you need to use to hit him, similar to the Egg Dragoon, and you need to keep moving because the platform is always disintegrating left and right. Second phase has you as the custom character, avoiding the robot's bullets, and when it punches the ground you use the grappling hook or Wispin to attack its hand. Last phase has Modern Sonic, Classic Sonic, and custom character running after the robot. You keep collecting Wisp to boost, and collect rings to stay alive. When you reach it, you mash the homing attack, then each character will attack a part of the robot. I think the final boss is pretty good. The first phase is just okay, but the second and third phase are pretty good. The second phase has this bullshit attack though, so watch out for that. The third phase, while a copy of Lost World's boss, which is a copy of Colors, is pretty fun, and that triple boost is just like So overall, the bosses are very hit and miss, but they have some good qualities. Man, this was a game I wanted to like, but it felt very unfinished. I don't mean like having a lot of glitches and shit, but I mean in terms of content. It felt like Sonic Team had a good idea of what they were trying to do, but they didn't execute those ideas to the fullest. The custom character was a good idea, but the level design didn't take much advantage of its mechanics. Classic Sonic felt very shoehorned in, and the level design isn't very interesting or fun. This game has some good aspects about it, like the way custom character and Modern Sonic play for the most part. But those things can't save the issues that this game brings. Sonic Forces as a whole is not a bad game, but is an underwhelming one. I hope the next Modern Sonic game will be better, have better execution on the ideas, better level design, and overall make the game a very great experience. I will admit that there is some fun to be had in this game, but overall, it just could have been better. Well, that was fun. I don't really have much to say after that. Well, my friends and enemies, join me next time as I review Super Mario Odyssey on the Nintendo Switch. See you around. Welp, it is done. Ugh, man, dude, I am really tired. I spent all night editing this video. Like, I stayed up until 5 a.m. But, yeah, here's the Sonic Forces review. First game review that I worked on for this channel, so this channel is basically being renamed to Fonzo McGeek. It's gonna have game reviews, game discussions, countdowns, etc. Reviews will probably be the main thing I'll be focusing on, but, if I get an idea for, like, a discussion or something, I'll work on that, too. And, yeah, so I probably won't be doing plush videos for a while on the Super Mario Fontainers channel. And there's going to be no plush video related content on this channel. But I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time for the Sonic Force Super Mario Odyssey review. So, see ya. And I gotta get some sleep. It's 5 in the morning.